conclusion of take one. We're on take two, beginning of take two. We had to change locations because of conflict of schedule and other meetings that were scheduled at the other location. Anyway, Paul, come on back over here. Let's continue with your list here, Paul.
Okay. I was at David Burstead. I was talking about some of the dates that we got a better location now. We got the ocean. The bathroom.
Water pipes, yeah.
The bathroom is right there upstairs. Oh, I'll go anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw my David Thorstad, and it's like it was December 2nd, 1978, that we had a meeting out in
Who's they?
Nambla.
Continue with that. Oh, once you're going to talk about Nambla? Okay, we're talking about
I was
Nambla.
talking about David Thorstad. And how
Right, okay.
I was how I met him.
And you're looking at your calendar there.
And I have, it's kind of marked. It's kind of weird how I mark things. I don't put anything except for.
Will that take it there? Yeah.
I'll have to get a close up on it later. It's like, I don't know how I even remember they like it in marketing thing. They just got Nambla written there. That's when they formed Nambla, when they actually formed it.
What was the date on that again?
December 2nd, 1978.
Were you there?
Yeah.
When they formed
Boston
Nambla?
Church.
Huh?
The Boston Church, yeah.
Remember the name of the church?
I got the name of it somewhere. Boston Community Church or something like that.
Who was there when they formed it?
David Thorstad, a couple of the guys that they became the string members later on and stuff. I'm not exactly sure who was all there. I know David Thorstad was the main one there. I believe Andretti was there. Andriette, I think it's Andriette. He was a kind of a kid at the time, so Bill Andriette. And several other guys that were there also. I'm not sure exactly.
How many people were there?
Probably 1 to 2 dozen.
Where were they from?
Mainly from Boston. They used to be called the Boston Boise Committee, and then they changed them to becoming
Boston what committee?
Boise.
Boise, okay.
B-O-I-S-E.
Okay. Will that take it there? Yeah.
I'll have to get a close up on it later. It's like, I don't know how I even remember they like it in marketing thing. They just got Nambla written there. That's when they formed Nambla, when they actually formed it.
What was the date on that again?
December 2nd, 1978.
Were you there?
Yeah.
When they formed
Boston
Nambla?
Church.
Huh?
The Boston Church, yeah.
Remember the name of the church?
I got the name of it somewhere. Boston Community Church or something like that.
Who was there when they formed it?
David Thorstad, a couple of the guys that they became the string members later on and stuff. I'm not exactly sure who was all there. I know David Thorstad was the main one there. I believe Andretti was there. Andriette, I think it's Andriette. He was a kind of a kid at the time, so Bill Andriette. And several other guys that were there also. I'm not sure exactly.
How many people were there?
Probably 1 to 2 dozen.
Where were they from?
Mainly from Boston. They used to be called the Boston Boise Committee, and then they changed them to becoming
Boston what committee?
Boise.
Boise, okay.
B-O-I-S-E.
Okay.
Except that sounds like something that should be in Montana. And then I was at a convention in New York with Nambla in June of 1980. And that was for some kind of meetings they were having. And I think it was a parade or something they were doing. They were having a parade, and I went out there to be around them and stuff.
Well, how many were there at that meeting?
I'm not even sure. But that one was just a lot of people. And then June of 1982, I went to I think it was Washington, D.C. for, I think it was during the 19th or something. I got the date written somewhere, but I can't read it. That's how bad it is. This is a bad copy. It was for a nuclear demonstration. That was in Washington, D.C. and stuff, and there were a bunch of us marching with a bunch of other groups that were marching against nuclear weapons.
That was NAMBLA?
Well, NAMBLA was part of it. There was some other demonstration that was taking place at the time for an anti-nuclear demonstration. So it wasn't just NAMBLA, it was all kinds of groups there. There was a big parade for it and everything. I just happened to take part in it with NAMBLA. Then in October of 82, I went to Philadelphia for a meeting that they were having. They had
October 82.
Yeah, 82. Now it was over, I think it's Columbus Day. It was in October. It was during the Columbus Day holiday and stuff. They had a meeting at big convention hall and stuff.
NAMBLA again.
Gay, yeah. They had other groups there too. They had the Philadelphia gay and lesbian groups there. They had people from what they called Fag Rag and the magazine and stuff. They had Robin from the local gay youth movement they had out there and stuff. They had all their speakers and stuff from out there, and they had what other name down? I got that written down somewhere. I have to get into that, but I don't want to get into detail with it right now.
We can get into detail later if we have time. It depends on how much time we have.
Okay. And then in December of 82, I went out to...
How many people were at that Philadelphia meeting?
There were a lot of people at the Philadelphia meeting. They had FBI agents and everything else all around there. They had people from the press were taking pictures of them. They had all these gay people taking pictures of them. So it's kind of a big thing that they were shooting.
What was the FBI doing there?
We think it was the FBI. They were bugging the places that they were trying to find out what was going on with this group, what they were trying to accomplish, because it was a NAMBLA meeting.
Yeah.
But
who all from NAMBLA was there?
Oh boy, that's a big one, because there was a lot of people from NAMBLA. David Thorstad was there, Bill Andrea, the attorney that they had, which was Michael J. Lavery. I'm not sure if Hugh was there. I'm sure Wayne Sunday was present. Robert Rhodes, or Manning Rhodes, I'm not sure what his first name right now.
Were you molested at all these meetings?
Well, there was, on the trips that were there, yeah.
So were you molested at the Boston meeting, and the New York meeting, and the Philadelphia meeting? Who molested you?
Different people, I don't know who they all were. I mean, Thorstad, there was Hugh Hamill, there was Wayne Sunday, there was Carl Ehlers, which was me. Summer convention in June of 80 was a picnic and stuff like that. We had.
Is that why they had you there?
Me and other kids that were there, that's what our purpose was for.
Okay, keep going. Anything more on NAMBLA?
I'll have to come back on them because there's a lot of them, but
yeah.
I'll go on with
Well, let's discuss NAMBLA later on. Depends on how much time we have.
Okay. Next name on the list is Harry Anderson, who I met.
Is that Harold Anderson?
Yeah, Harold Anderson. I called him Harry. Whom I met through, like I said, Carlson's group. I had sexual relations with him, I think it was about 10 times exactly. And I was usually at the Red Line Inn. I think it was, I'm not sure, but I think it was still the Hilton at the time. They changed the name right about the last part of the 70s or early part of the 80s. They changed the name from Hilton to Red Line Inn, and I never had figured out which it was when I was there because I never paid attention to it much. But that's where most of them took place. I also went to Council Bluffs with him, and that was from 78 to 83. I was with him, and 83 we had a big argument, and I didn't want anything to do with him, and that dealt with my friend Andy, who was doing sexual things and stuff, and I didn't want to be messing with my friend Andy.
What do you mean sexual things?
Well, we were at some parties and stuff, and he was having sex with himself.
Yeah.
When he was like about 12 years old.
Andy was 12. What's happened to Andy?
I don't know. I haven't.
Was he doing kinky things or just straight sex?
Well, mainly kinky things.
Like what?
Well, oral sex and we tied him up and stuff like that, which is why I really got concerned, because he was going to do the same things that he did with me to him. And this is like my little brother, so you know, anybody can mess with him. And
So,
anyway,
did he mess with you in spite of your argument?
he did up until then. And then I kind of was at all the parties and stuff, and it's like I kind of pulled Andy away from him. And
Would Harold Anderson allow this? You didn't pull him away?
he had nothing to say about it,
Okay.
because I told Harold Bear that I wouldn't go to the parties anymore. Actually, I wouldn't bring any more of my friends to the parties if he didn't keep him away from Andy.
Because of the kinky things, or just in general?
In general, I didn't like the guy. I never did. I mean, because he always tied me up and beat me and burned me cigarettes and stuff. I just didn't like him.
What did he pay you to do that?
Not enough. $50, $75.
Tight one, huh?
Yeah. Next person on the list is Kent Bruner, and I was with him about 10 to 20 times.
Kent who?
Kent Bruner, or Kenny Bruner. He was involved in Carlson.
B-R-U-N-E-R?
Yeah, B-R-U-N-E. He was involved with Walter Carlson's group, and that's how I met him. Just through there. And that went on from 77 to 83 when I pulled away from Carlson. In 83 I pulled away from a lot of guys. I figured they didn't, I guess, well, the person I was around and stuff at the time and stuff, went for the money after that. And then didn't go to Carlson's parties because they didn't get enough money for going to them, so they stopped them. But it was also because my stepdad died and a bunch of other friends died and stuff, and we just...
They died? Your friends died?
Well, I had one friend that, a couple of friends that committed suicide. And, my stepdad died, then my aunt died, and my great aunt died.
Why did your friends commit suicide?
Two of them I had no idea why they committed suicide. The other one was involved in Satanism, and he just couldn't handle it anymore.
Do the Satanists encourage suicide?
Sometimes. Depends on what their purpose for you is. If they have no purpose for you, yeah, they will encourage you to give yourself for a sacrifice, which I've never seen anybody actually do.
Give himself up for sacrifice?
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do it.
Yeah. But you've seen him go involuntarily.
Yeah.
You told me the last time.
Yeah. The next name is Joe Burke. He was also involved with Walter Carlson's group, and that was about 10, 20 times from 77 to 83.
What
He's the one
town?
that I got in Omaha. And he's one that I got mainly involved with Carlson's group. He was the second one that got involved in Carlson's group, and he's the one that got me involved with Andreessen directly. And so I don't know what he did for a living. All I know is that he liked boys. I don't say much more. Next guy is, was at the time I thought he was John Mahoney, and now I know that he's Eugene Mahoney. And that went from 77 to about 86. I've seen him at parties, and I had done a few sexual things with him under 5 times. I was with him. In fact, I think it was more like 2 times I did something directly with him, and then there was other times I was with him that he was with other young men and stuff. And I met him through Bear's group. And then there's another guy, his last name was Nelson. I don't know what his first name was, all I know that he was a lawyer.
Well, this last one, he's an Omaha.
Nelson?
The other one before that.
Oh yeah, Mahoney? Yeah.
Mahoney. What is his occupation?
I don't know what his occupation is.
Okay.
All I know is that he was a pretty powerful with all of the...
Break in here, Ted. You have a phone call from your sister. So
Oh, okay.
can you just break in?
Where can I take it?
Take it in here.
I'll be all right.
Yeah, Ron Nelson. All I know is that he was a lawyer from the Omaha area. That's his last name. And I met him in '83 and '84.
How old guy is he?
He's probably in his, well, at the time he was 83 and '84, he's probably in his 30s. Probably early to mid 30s. And I was with him twice. I met him at one party with their next guy is a guy named Jay Dura. He was also a lawyer. And met him at a lot of parties in Omaha, and I also seen him in Washington, D.C. And that was going on through 80 to 86. And I was with Bear and also with King. I know he was a lawyer, because we talked a few times. I was with him like 3 times, sexually.
And he's from where?
He's from Omaha.
Okay. But he was in Washington, D.C. also.
Well, he went for a trip. A couple of trips went down there and stuff, but one trip I really remember most. This guy's Mike Heverin. He's a teacher out in, I think it was Payan or something. He got canned because of contributing to delinquency or minor giving him cigarettes. But he had some very questionable tapes that I remember him doing stuff.
Well, what time was that? When was that?
That was from, it was in 1980. Took a bunch of trips out to another town, and he used to film us doing different things.
Porno films?
Well, some of them were, but he filmed some other films too, but he also did that. For certain kids, he'd pick them out. I was with him about 4 times.
What do you mean you pick them out?
He
Kids
would,
on the street or kids that were with you?
He picked out kids from his class. He was a teacher. Kids from his class and stuff, and they'd go on field trips and stuff, and then they would film different things, and then he'd pick them out during them trips and stuff, which ones he would start abusing sexually.
You take pictures of the ones you wanted to go after.
Yeah, he'd figure out which ones were easy targets. I wouldn't say anything.
How could he? Oh, I see. The one he was worried about the ones that would talk. What town is he from?
He was from, I think, I'm not sure if he was from South Omaha, but I know that he worked at either Payne or one of the schools in Omaha. He got fired a couple of years back.
Oh, you said some school, Paley or something?
Payne or
Yeah.
La Vista, or somewhere out there.
Is that a part of Omaha?
Well, it's in Sarpy County. It's
Okay.
not in Omaha. So. This guy, all I had was the last name. His last name was Todd. All I called him was Mr. Todd. He was with Carlson. I was with him 5 or 10 times in 77, 83. And it was in Omaha.
How old a guy is he?
He's probably in his early 20s.
And what, you know what he did? Any of these people did?
I don't know what he did. I know that, well, actually I shouldn't say it. I think he did something with, well, he was going to school. At the time he was going to UNO. So that's all I remember about him is that he went to UNO.
How many times did you say?
About 5 to 10.
And they were all
I knew he was a victim from before and stuff because we had talked a lot and stuff. He had grown up being abused by these guys, and he just was like 20. He was early 20s, I think maybe 20, 21.
So he was some of the earlier victims. I know.
And they had, these guys had been going on for years before they ever got a hold of me. The next guy is Carl Ehlers, and he was involved with NAMBLA. I met him out in New York. And I was with him about 3 times, and a kid named Harold Baker. He was a kid that was always with him when Carl Ehlers got arrested. Not sure exactly when he got arrested, but he got arrested and charged with sexually abusing some girl or something. He'd actually sexually abused a lot of other people, but he didn't really bring all of it out.
Where was he arrested?
I think in New York. I'm not 100%.
You know what his occupation was?
No.
You know where he's from? Was he from Omaha?
Carl Ehlers? No, he's from out there on the East Coast. I only met him through Nammo. This guy is Tim Anderson. And,
Any relation?
to
Harold?
No. Tim Anderson was probably in his 30s. And I met him through Carlson too. He's always at the parties. I was with him. I was only with him 3 times.
Where was this? What city?
In Omaha. His interests were in, at the time, he liked younger kids.
How old was he?
In his 30s.
Okay, you said that.
Next guy is Wayne Sunday, which I was with him one time. He's kind of a fat, plump guy, but kind of sick. Met him through Nambo too out in New York. Stayed at his place. Most of the time I was in town. I stayed at his apartment. And, he was on the steering committee with the Nambo. He's one of their head guys.
What did he do for a living?
I don't know what he did for a living. I know he was the head guy on the steering committee for Nambo and did a lot of work for them, but I'm not sure what he did outside there. I mean, I could probably figure it out.
How old a guy was he?
Probably in his 30s, kind of bald on top, fat, and I had hair on both sides, and no one else, and guy. Next guy is Larry King, and I was with him under 10 times, which was actually about maybe 5 or 6.
The Larry King from Omaha?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Franklin Credit Union. Met him in 80, and I met him in 82 or 83 at the parties. Seen him in 80 at rituals. I seen him in 79 at a couple of rituals, but I never really knew who he was until 80, and then I was introduced to him. And in 82, 83, some stuff happened. I met him at the parties I met him through Bear. And then he started inviting me to his parties and stuff, which I never really had to do anything with him as long as I kept his big shots that he brought in happy. He didn't expect nothing from me. He paid me good.
Who were the big shots he brought in?
A lot of them, I don't know. A lot of them were like senators and congressmen from other states. A lot
State
of them,
senators
he'd
or
send
U.S.
me
senators?
to them.
State senators or U.S. senators?
State senators, U.S. senators, congressmen, governors. I mean, that's where I got involved with the Washington, D.C. and stuff, and went to Washington, D.C. a lot. And he was also, I believe, involved with Monarch, because I remember seeing him, or a fat man that looked like him, maybe younger, in the early 70s and stuff when I first got involved with Monarch. So I think it was him. I'm not 100% sure. It was off an Air Force Base, which is also where I met Wall.
Which Wall? Name it. First name. I want it from you.
What, Jerry?
What was his first name?
Jerry?
Yeah. Jerry Wall,
Jerry Wall, the FBI. He was an FBI agent in Omaha. Traveled a lot.
When did you meet Wall?
Actually, trying to go through that. I'm not sure, but I remember seeing him and a lot of the things that we did all through the midway through the 70s up until probably after about 76 to about the time I got away from everything in 86. It's about a 10-year period that maybe, about that.
How many times did you see him?
I seen him a lot of times. Whenever I went to training and stuff, he was one of the guys that was there. I never really got to, not every time I went to training, but about once every couple of months I'd see him.
Training for what?
Monarch.
Okay.
He was
I just want you to say this.
Yeah, okay.
So there's no question about what you're talking about. You understand what I'm
He was
saying?
one of the guys that did the mind control stuff that would kind of be like the protector. He'd kind of talk to you when things are happening and stuff and kind of try to make you think that he was on your side and stuff, and you could trust him. You couldn't trust nobody else, but you could trust him.
Well, see, when I say Jerry who or Wall who, what I'm trying to do is, I don't want anything to be for granted. I want it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
I want it all to be,
I remember him
want it all to
because
hang out.
I remember him connecting with Larry King and stuff because they had met a couple, they talked several times. Larry King provided some boys for him. There was a party, I remember there was a small kid that Jerry brought to the party. This is like in the late, before I pulled away from the thing, 86.
How old was the kid?
Probably about 6.
Who was the kid, do you know?
I believe it was his son. Because Pastor John showed me a picture of Wall one time and just asked me if I knew who the guy was. At the time I said he looked familiar, but I didn't have a name for him. And then we started talking about something one time, and he didn't have these pictures again and stuff, but he mentioned something about some guy and stuff. I said, "You show me a picture of him." And he goes, "Which one?" I said, "One with the kid." And I knew I seen the kid because it was the same kid.
Where did you see the? Where did you seen the kid? Where you saw a picture of the kid, and then you tied it into this party?
Well, see, I seen the kid at the party, but when I seen the picture of Jerry Wall and his son, but I didn't know it was Jerry Wall and his son. All I said is the guy looked familiar, but I said the kid looked real familiar. The reason the kid looked more familiar than Jerry was because at that time and stuff was I had been going through I was going through at the same time and stuff. I was going through memory of all the kids that were victimized at parties and stuff. And his face was one that was at a party and stuff. And I have a tendency to, when I see the pictures of the victims, I have a tendency to recognize them before I will perpetrators, because in the past when I was doing the MPD and stuff even, there was blocks on the perpetrators. There was other victims, there was no blocks on them. But who was perpetrating or who was sexually abusing me or whatever they were doing to me, there was blocks that would block them out. I couldn't see what their face looked like. So it's like when I was showing pictures of them, there might have been a resemblance. Like I've seen that person before, but I couldn't connect it right away. With the kids, there was no blocks, so it was easy to recognize him, but I didn't exactly know what it was from.
Okay, this kid was about 6 years old. What was the year on that again?
That was about 86.
86. So the child now would be.
He'd probably be about
13 years old.
Well, 11, 12. Because I'm saying 6. It's 4. Like maybe 5, 6 years old. And that was depending on what year this is.
86. This is.
I don't count 93 yet, so 4, 5, 6. I just had 6 years. I had 93.
8 years later. 86, you say?
4, 5, 6. It's only been about 6.5 years.
Okay, so today, how old would that kid be?
Be about 12.
Okay.
I'm 12 years old.
Okay, you said that Larry King would send you out to politicians and congressmen, senators. So how did you know they were congressmen, senators?
Well, a lot of times when we were like in Washington D.C. and stuff, I figured it out after a while when they came in, and like some of them had bodyguards. They'd come in and look around. And they'd always be like, they'd always had forward guys that would go in before they would. If they made a shot, I guess a forward guy would be shot. And that was mainly with the congressmen and stuff. The governors, we went to different states and we met with, I think I was only with 2 governors.
What state did you go to and when?
There was one out in New York or Massachusetts. I've been trying to figure that one out because where we were at was like real close to either side. I don't know where it was at, but I do know that I met with Senator Barney Franks, who was from Boston, or something like that.
Is he U.S. Senator?
I believe so. Barney Franks.
Did he molest you?
He had sexual relations with me.
Okay.
That's later on.
Is it Franks? F-R-A-N-K-S? Okay, who are the governors? Can you remember? Did you recognize any of the politicians?
I don't recognize too many of them. I didn't ask who they were. The only ones I really knew was Studs, a guy named Gall, weren't any state senators from Nebraska as far as I remember.
Did you recognize, aside from the fact that you had sex with some of these politicians, at some of these parties, did you recognize any prominent senators or congressmen or anybody, even though you may not have had sex with them?
A lot of the parties I went to with King had prominent people, because at Washington, D.C., whenever we were down there, you guys had parties. At the beginning of the party, you had a lot of young guys and stuff that were servers. We'd sometimes serve stuff, sometimes we'd be up in the background, we'd be walking around the party and stuff. Nothing was to take place then. After the party was over, the ones that were involved with him, or the ones that he was trying to get political favors from, that won whatever they wanted, they would stay or they'd come in after the party was over, or the next day. See, so at the party, nothing even abnormal. I mean, if somebody was in there and stuff, they'd see no abnormal activities going on, so they would, honestly be able to say that. I've been to parties, but I've never seen anything. So, but I've seen some parties down in Washington. I've seen President Bush there, which I'd rather not talk about him.
Wait a minute, what year was that? Was he president
that was
or
vice president? That's when he was still vice president. I've never met him as president because he became president in '88, and I never went around him after that.
You saw him at how many of these parties?
I've seen him at about 3 or 4 parties. And
This
at
was
every one of
before-
the parties, you had a little ID card that you had to have. And they had a little scanner thing that when you went in, they ran it across this thing to get in there and stuff. They had special agents everywhere, Secret Servicemen everywhere and stuff. And I fell off the balcony of the place. They had a little window and stuff. I was sitting on there and I fell off. Didn't get hurt. I got up. But I dropped my card, and I had Secret Servicemen with about 500 guns pointing, about 20 guns pointing at my head when I tried to go back in. Until our king came over and straightened it out and said he belongs in here. And that was kind of a spooky thing when you have all those guns pointing in your face and you're only about 15, 16 years old. The reason was because the vice president was there, so they had to have all the Secret Service. But I also seen at some of them, I seen people like Maureen Reagan, which is, I believe, President Reagan's daughter.
What did Vice President Bush hang around after the party was over, or what?
He was after the party a couple of times, and we were hiding in the closet, but I didn't do nothing with him. He was with a black kid, and he was with a white kid.
What do you mean with a white kid and a black kid?
Well, there was one...
Tell me about the time when you were in the closet.
Well, me and this other kid, we were...
Who's the other kid?
I can't even remember right now. He was from the Washington, D.C. area. So he wasn't from around here, but we were just sitting in the closet talking, just kind of trying to mind our own business, because we were staying away from the rest of the party. We were in a back room in the bedroom.
Was this after the formal party was over?
Well, it was kind of during the formal party, but it was after a lot of people had already started leaving and stuff, and we remember that a couple of Secret Servicemen came in. One went to the window and looked around outside the window and stuff. The other one came in, looked in the closet, and thought he'd seen us.
Was it
He had a
dark?
flashlight. The lights were off. He didn't even bother turning the lights. Come in with a flashlight. Looked in the closet. I guess he didn't really look around it because me and him were sitting on the floor right below him. He kind of looked like this. He didn't even look down. Kind of looked like that and stuff. Turned around and walked out of the room and stuff, and then we seen this other guy come in and stuff, and I didn't recognize him at first.
Was the closet door open or closed?
It was partially open.
Okay.
So we could, we could see out there and stuff. And, it's like the 2 people I knew as Webb. There's 2 kids that I knew as Webb and stuff. One of them was from Washington area. He was a white kid, and the other one was a black kid. I seen it at 2 different times.
2 different Webb. One is a white, one is a black kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was from Omaha or somewhere out here.
Was the white kid or the black kid from Omaha?
The black kid.
Okay.
He's one that was from this area. And I seen at the time Vice President Bush go in, and all he did was the kids performed oral sex on him. That was it.
Kids what?
Performed oral sex on him. And
The kid performed oral. Which, the black kid or the white kid?
both of them. Well, first I seen him at 2 different times. First with the white kid. Then with
When
the
you
black
were in the closet?
Yeah, we were in the
Was that
closet both times.
Oh, were you?
That was our normal hideout. Me, him, and other kids and stuff. That's where we hid out at. We go on the closet and stuff when we want to get away from the party.
So you were in that closet twice when Vice President Bush came in?
I was in the closet more than twice, isn't it?
I mean, when Vice President Bush came in, two separate parties, once with a white kid and once with a black kid? Is that right? So you saw him twice?
Yeah.
And the kid had to perform oral sex on him? And what happened after they finished?
He just got up and left, and after the white kid knew that we were in there. The black kid didn't have any idea that anybody was else in the room and stuff. But the white kid, his name was also Joe. It was Webb, and I'm not sure if that was his real name or if he just tried to copy the black kid, because the other kid's name was Wally Webb. Was his name, and the other kid was Joe Webb. But he told us, "Okay, you guys can come out of the closet now."
The white kid did?
Yeah, he knew we were in there because he was one of the kids that used to hang out with us all the time. Maybe like 3 or 4 of us, we just sit in the closet and stuff. And
well, he used to hang out in the closet and stuff. He figured you were in there, huh?
well, he knew we were in there because he seen us go into the bedroom before we went in there. So we told him we were going in there. He said, "We're going to go in and, in the bedroom and stuff and talk." Because that's what we did. We went in there and talked and stuff. So he says, "Okay." He says, "I might come in and join you in a little while." Because it was the only place you could hide from Larry King at. He never knew where you were at when you were in there. He always figured you were up in some room with somebody, and so he never went and bothered looking for you. So he just disappeared for a while, and he'd go and look in the bedroom. He'd never look in the closet, which had all kinds of stuff in it, too.
What do you have in there?
Clothes, anything. I mean, he was kind of a wild guy. I mean, I don't know if anybody knew that he was a drag queen, but he liked to dress up in women's clothing a lot of times. I mean, you got Queen of the Max, and
You're talking about all kinds of women's clothing.
he had some women's clothing in there, but he had men's clothing, suits and stuff.
Could it have been his wife's clothing?
Not in his size.
Okay.
She's a small woman. Yeah.
So did you see Bush there any other time?
I just seen him at a couple other parties, but I never seen him do anything.
So you saw him probably at total of 4 parties?
Yeah.
Saw him involved in the sex act twice?
Yeah.
What happened to this Webb kid from Washington, D.C.?
As far as I know, he's still down in Washington, D.C.
What happened to the other kid? Black
Wally?
kid? Yeah. Or
I don't know,
Joe Webb was the black kid, wasn't he?
No, Wally Webb.
Wally Webb, okay. He used to Omaha.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
I don't know. The only thing I know about him and stuff is what I've been kind of picking up here and there from what's been written about it in the book and stuff, even though his name's been misprinted or even though they use a different name for him, they don't use his name Wally in the book.
What other politicians did you visit? Let's say you went to 2 governors. One was either New York or Massachusetts. And what year was that?
That was in the early 80s. I'm not sure exactly what year.
And where was the other governor?
I couldn't even say for sure. I know it was down around on the East Coast, though. It was down lower toward Washington, D.C., because we were on a trip there and we drove to where it was at. So I'm not sure where it was from.
Who's we?
Larry King. He was the one that always... He accompanied me, or he'd have one of his personal boys. Well, personal men. Because they had Bodies by God, and they had... all that kind of stuff down there.
Did you ever see Bush in Omaha?
No, I've never seen him on the home. I've never been there. But I knew a guy that gave us a trip to the White House one night, and that was a guy named Jerry Spence.
He gave you a trip to the White House?
Yeah, he took me and a bunch of other boys for a tour through the White House.
And when was that?
Well, it actually happened about 6 or 7 times.
Did somebody have
Through the
sex?
upper rooms where supposedly nobody goes.
Did somebody have sex with you there?
No, but we went and had sex afterwards. I don't know who they were. I mean, they were...
Where did you go for sex afterwards?
To a hotel that was near the Lincoln Memorial.
Do you know who had sex with you? Spence? Do you know where Spence is from?
No. All I know is he was
Who introduced you to Spence?
Larry King. he got me involved with what they called Bodies by God, and then they also had another group which I was involved with, which was Dream Boys.
Okay.
The group that they ran, and Larry King was part of, with getting boys and young men involved with it.
I'm going to show you some pictures. I'm going to show you. 4 pictures. You want to tell me if you've ever seen these men before? You put them up for the camera first. That's one. I'm going to show them to you all at the same time. There's another one. Another one. I'm going to block off the name, by the way, when I show it to you. Here's another one. Okay, let me block off this one name. As a matter of fact, it's autographed. So, let me block it off. You take a look at these, see if you've ever seen these people. I'm going to show it to them like this. Okay, here's 4 pictures. Spread them out right there. There. There and there. Some of you have never seen
This one's a better picture of it. Looks familiar. Again, there's that Clarence Thomas.
Have you ever seen Clarence Thomas?
Just on TV.
Okay, that takes care of that one. What about
That
this?
is Clarence Thomas.
It is Clarence Thomas, yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
Looks like somebody who's at some party with Larry King. I know which one it was. Let's see if you introduce me to him at all. Well, no, I didn't introduce him, but there's a name tag on. Focus in. That's one thing I have like a video camera in my head.
Okay, focus in on that.
Bob. What's that there? It's either Bill or Bob.
Remember his last name?
Allen?
Bill or Bob Allen?
Allen.
Where'd you see him?
Try. Well, I see him in several different places. It was all dealing with political stuff with Larry King.
You remember where?
I want to say Dallas at Fort Worth.
We're at the convention when you went down there?
Yeah. The ranch and
What ranch?
Washington, D.C. The South Fork. One where I guess they filmed, what they say, Dallas or something. Some movie.
In Dallas, that's Dallas.
Yeah. I say Fort Worth.
Dallas TV. The Dallas TV show.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess.
Did you see him there?
Yeah.
And who was he with?
He was with, well, there were several people. I don't know who he was with, but I know that there was a guy named Bill or Bob Allen or Alex. I'm trying to get the last letter on the name. Alex doesn't sound right for the last name. Allen it is. I say Allen. I gotta say Allen because
You say
Alex is not a last name.
this guy's name is Bill or Bob Allen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna, for the purpose of the camera, I'm gonna take the signature. This is an autograph photograph. I'm gonna show the camera what his last name. You didn't see this autograph, this signed autograph.
No.
Let me show you what you came up with. And that, for the record, that's Bill Allen. He was a Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate, and in the past was a write-in candidate in 1990. Bill Allen. You identified him. Huh? You what?
This guy looks real familiar. It's like the governor of California.
You ever see the governor of California?
Just on TV, but
You never saw him at any of these parties. Okay.
I think the governor is.
It is the governor.
Well, you can sure tell I don't try and make up nothing about somebody. If I don't know from any parties, I won't say nothing.
That's right. That's good. Okay, keep going with your list. Now, what I'd like to do is maybe the next day or so we can go to the library and look at all the U.S. congressmen and senators.
Yeah.
They must have a picture of him.
Jerry Studs, and then there's a.
Studs is where?
I don't know where he's from. I think it's Jerry Studs, I'm not sure. There's a lot of Jerry's in there.
Going back to Allen, did he ever perform any sex acts on you?
Allen.
Bill Allen, the congressional senatorial candidate. You just saw him at the parties.
I see him at parties and stuff, and I know he was around after the parties, so I know he was aware of what was going on with
And he's
and stuff.
a friend of Larry King's. Okay. Okay, keep going with the list. Anything more on Larry King you want to mention?
Well, I have to go on him separately.
Later.
Several people in here and stuff, if I try to go on them, so I can take them.
Okay, well, the ones we need to go on separate, you let me know.
Let you know.
Huh?
I mean, I'll put an asterisk for them.
Well, here, I'll make a note of their name here.
Okay. Citron, Banger, Anderson, and so forth. Carlson is anymore. He's been through prison.
Anderson, Bear,
Anderson, Bear,
Citron,
King.
Who else?
Well, we'll go through the ones from NAMBLA.
And Nambla? Okay. Okay, keep going, then we'll come back to those. You have to do a little separate chapter on each one of those.
Next one's Hugh Hamill, and he was from, I don't know exactly where he's from, but I know he was from New York, and I met him on Trickland in Times Square, but he was involved with NAMBLA, and I was in about 82, and I was with him about 2 times, and I don't know what he did because I know he'd been in prison, and I know he went back to prison, and I don't know what else happened. That all happened over a kid named Charles Dyson, which I can explain a lot about that.
What's that now?
What? A kid named Charles Dyson, who disappeared out from his home in New Jersey in '82, end of November, first part of December. But he ended up going back. He ended up getting back home and stuff. But I was around him while he was abducted. I was out there for a week with him and stuff. And
When they abducted him?
well, no, not when they abducted him, but it was after he'd already been abducted and stuff, and I didn't know it. But I was at this place where he was at. They arrested a bunch of guys. Supposedly, they knew where he was at, or that they had something to do with it, which they didn't. People that got arrested didn't have anything to do with it. The guy, John David Bomarito, got away. He was the one that actually did it. Police caught him and stuff. He was wanted in another state. They let him go. He was wanted in Texas, I guess, because this is I got a list from David Thorstad on him, and also from himself. from John Barmarito. And he said that he had a deal worked out with the FBI in some town. He was working with them to try and get NAMBLA, some NAMBLA people in trouble and stuff, and try and put a bad name on them and stuff. He's working with some dirty FBI agents, which doesn't surprise me anymore.
What town?
Well, out in on the East Coast, I'm not sure exactly what town. All I know is that the ones he was working with were good enough to get the charges dropped in Texas against him for sexually molesting some boys. He had just gotten out of prison in Buena Vista, Colorado, for the same thing.
Okay, spell his name for us.
Barmarito? B-A-M-M-R... Is it on here? It is. It should be. B-M-A-M-M-A-R-I-T-O.
First name?
Barons. Yeah, he went by several aliases. Barons. And
Barons for last name?
John David or David John Bomarito.
Okay.
I think it was Bomarito.
And you don't know, remember what town, where the FBI agents were, or what they were going to do?
No, all I know is that he got away with basically kidnapping Charles Dyson, and the other guy that was with him got in trouble for it, and that was, I don't know, I think it was Hugh Hamill. Hugh Hamill didn't have anything really to do with it. I got all that written down.
Did this kid come back then?
Charles Dyson, he went back home when I was in 82 and stuff. And I think he got back home either at the end of 82 or the beginning of 83. He went back home. They got him on a bus ticket. And
Was he found by the
back
police,
home.
or did he turn himself in, or what?
well, he came back home on his own. He came back on a bus and stuff, and the police made it look like. I mean, I know the kid and stuff. He, the entire time he was with them and stuff. I don't know if they ever molested him or not when he was with them. I know that he went skiing and stuff because I was with him part of the time, and basically we went out and did, had a lot of fun and stuff. And I don't know if he ever got molested or not. I think he did. I don't think
Was he actually kidnapped, or did he go voluntarily?
He kind of went voluntarily, but he was under the age, so it's considered kidnapping.
And how long was he gone?
About a month, I think.
And Bomarito had him the whole time?
Bomarito and some other guy that was with him. I'm trying to remember what the guy's name was.
And you saw him? You were with him that time?
I was with him for a couple of days when I was out there and stuff.
Where?
Out in Connecticut. It was at the Wareham. They had a Wareham cottage where they were at. Wareham, Massachusetts, I think it was.
Where we were in Mass, yeah.
That's what it was in Wareham, Massachusetts, where they were at. That's where they busted, I believe, either Dave, I think it was Hugh Hamill, and they also arrested Harold Baker, who at the time I think was 17. They charged him as being, they had this big thing and stuff, making him look like he was a sexual pervert, doing stuff with minors and stuff. He was only like 17 years old when this was going on. Police were doing it to him.
Police were doing what to him?
Charging him with kidnapping or something like that, and he didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, they charged these guys with all phony charges.
What
I know
police?
that the Massachusetts police and the New Jersey police. And I know that they were false charges because I was out there, and Hamill and this other guy Baker had nothing to do with this kid's abduction. These guys brought this kid there and stuff, and they didn't even know the kid was abducted for a while. And they found out, they told them they had to go on. They couldn't stay. These guys couldn't stay there. And so it's like they made this kid Baker, who's like 17 years old, look like he was a pedophile or something, because he was messing around kids that were about 16 and stuff, which were basically his own age.
Where are these guys from? These two guys?
Hamilton, they're from the Boston, New York areas. With NAMBLA, Boston and New York City are not separated.
Were these two NAMBLA guys?
Baker was. I know he's been involved full force with it. And Hamill, I don't think he ever really got involved with NAMBLA completely. I know he wrote a lot of letters to him, so I read a couple of them when he was in going to jail stuff. NAMBLA did a lot of legal work for him. They had their attorneys working with him, working for him, trying to get him out.
What was he in jail for? On this charge?
On this charge, which was
Trumped up.
It was trumped up by the police and stuff because they were on a witch hunt and after him, even though he hadn't done anything with that. He'd done stuff with other kids and stuff, but he hadn't done anything with the one they were charging him with. So they're making up for it, I guess. Next guy is a guy named Tank. Any gay bar in Omaha, they'd know exactly who he is. Although the Omaha police thought he was a fictitious person, probably made up in our imaginations, and yet he actually exists and fits the description that we described him as.
And Tank is who?
He's a guy that he hangs out in the old market area. He's kind of an old troll. Just hangs out and looks for kids or young guys. And
Is he white or black?
white, kind of big build, kind of like a motorcycle fat guy. He lived up in Harney Street at the time, which was where I lived at when I first met him.
Oh, you, when did it happen?
Oh, I met him in... First time I met him was in the mid-'70s when I first got involved with Carlson and that, and started going down to the old Diamond Bar, which was not what it's at now in Omaha, because it's about a block away, because it was across the street from the bus station, which now is a parking lot where it used to be at. So we tore the building down, moved into what used to be the Mosey's Inn, which my aunt used to work at. She was a bouncer and a bartender. Used to throw guys out there. And Mosey used to be the he was a chief of police in Omaha. And he's a really nice guy because I met him several times. And after he died, they closed up the bar, and Diamond Bar took over, which is a gay bar, and they took over, or bought it out. They moved in, but that's where I met him at. And I was with him under about 10 times, and he was at party. I met him on the run, and then I met him party with Baron and stuff. He was partying with them all the time. And the next guy is Fat Freddy, which his real name is Fred Mertzstar. He's, as far as I know, he's still living downtown area and stuff. He's still picking up young boys. He's always had runaways living with him and stuff, and he always takes advantage of them, making them prostitute themselves to other guys, to himself. At the time, he was probably in his 40s. So he's probably well into his 50s now, probably about mid to late 50s. He's a heavy-set guy that always complained that he was going to die of cancer and die of this or die of that, and he never died. Maybe he should have. I met him at the same time I met Tank. So they were kind of running together. They were friends up. And he lived up in Jackson Street, about 16th and Jackson. He always lived in the downtown area, around the gay bars and stuff. I met him at the same time we should go out in the mid-'70s. And I also seen him at the Run Party Fair. And the next guy is David Groton. I was with him 5 to 10 times from 79 to 82. So prison, I think that was. I was out in New York, and I was with Mamble. So he was involved with the same.
You know what he does? If you know what any of these people do for a living, mention that also.
Yeah, I will. He goes to prison.
If he's a prison next time.
Well, I think he probably would be now. I think he went to prison in 82 or 83. I'm not sure. All I know is he disappeared for a while. Mamble was complaining about one more than members, but not the two.
For child molestation or what?
Yeah.
Well, do these Mammal guys pick on girls too?
Some do, but most of them involved in Mamble are involved with the boys and stuff. At least the ones I know. It's kind of interesting. Their bulletin there for sexual freedom for all ages and stuff, but yet in their bulletin is filled with little boys in it.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's what it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen one for. As Paul, I've never seen one, but going on the memories of that first night, it's probably about 3.5, well, maybe more, like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Been hard to get into prison.
I know.
They won't let them hurry, I don't think. And again, I don't know how they found me when I was in prison and started writing me again.
Mammal did?
They started writing me and sending me letters and stuff, encouraging me. And I'm like going, no, what's your encouragement? You guys are gross.
Well, somebody in the prison took him.
Well, no, it's like when I got arrested. That's the weird thing about it. Nobody in prison knew me, but it's like they knew that when I got arrested and stuff. So it's like funny that they're in connection with the people in Omaha, and how would they know I was in prison? It had to have been somebody that they know in Omaha that would have told these people. David Thorstad was sure is dead, but nobody can get anything out of him. I mean,
Why
they
do you
say that
think?
he died of AIDS.
Oh, they did?
That's what Dr. Denson Gerber said. That he died of AIDS.
Yeah.
So if he did, then it's kind of good and bad. It's good that he's dead and he's not abusing more kids, but it's bad because I just think about the kids that he might have infected with it.
Sure he did.
It's just when they're already, I guess. That's a different story. This guy is Jack West. I was with him 10 or 20 times, and he worked at the Max. He was a bartender for a long while. I mean,
What's the Max? The bar?
Max Bar, Maxine's. Now, I don't know if it's Maxine's or what, but they call it
What city?
Maxine. Omaha. Across from the Omaha Police Department, in fact. You look out their window and see them. In fact, all the gay bars are right around the police department in Omaha. It's their protection, I guess. But Jack West was a bartender there. He was also close friends with Alan Bear. He supplied boys for parties and stuff because young guys would come in that were underage and stuff, 16, 17 years old. He'd supply them with alcohol and stuff for sexual favors and stuff. He was just involved with Baron King quite heavily. So no, and then the next guy was a guy named Tom Harvey. He used to be, I don't know what he did at the bank or at the credit union, but he worked with Larry King. He was at a couple of parties, and I had sexual relations with him twice. He lived with, after he was like probably in his 30s, he lived with his mother.
Was he white or black guy?
White guy. Chunky. He lived with his mommy. Even in his 30s, and I thought that was kind of strange, but so was the guy. The next guy is a guy named Donald Sitzman, and he was a lawyer in the Omaha area. I met him on the run. And I also seen him at some other gatherings, but I'm not sure
What
exactly.
do you mean on the run?
The run in Omaha, it's
Oh, that's the name of the place?
well, the run is, it's the name of a gay bar, but it's also an area that runs from 16th or down Leavenworth, across 16th Street, from about 16th to 18th and Leavenworth, over to Jackson Street, and it goes up and goes right around the Omaha Correctional Center, and it's where it's kind of like Santa Monica Boulevard is out in Beverly Hills. It's kind of that type of an area. It's where all the gay prostitutes hang out at. Like in Omaha, they got 17th and
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is, you can't look at that television and say, nothing happened.